Hey everybody, Lauren Reedon, speech language pathologist here. I wanted to share one of my tried and true activities that I used to do with my toddlers who I was working on articulation with. So it's a very simple concept. I will post the link to where you can get the resources for it as well. The concept is original to me, but the pictures, the materials that I use for it are not. And so I do have links to where I actually got the pictures from, just to give credit where credit is due. So without further ado, may I introduce feeding games. So here we have a lovely little pink pig, okay? Feeding games. Why feeding games, you may ask? There's a hole for the mouth. And along with this pink piggy, we have P words. How about that? So obviously you can probably guess what sound this child would be working on, probably P in the beginning of words. If it's a 2-year-old, we're really not going to be concerned that much about the final sound in words, right? Because final consonant deletion is a typical error for this population for birth to 3. But the P sound should definitely be in place by the time they turn 3, for sure. So how would I use this in therapy? First of all, the way I have it created is flat. The only reason why it's flat is because I used to take this into people's houses. I needed it to be flat because I have about a dozen of these different animals, different sounds, and I needed them to be flat. But honestly, the easiest way for you to do this is to print off the picture of the animal and then tape or glue it, affix it somehow to an empty cereal box or even an empty goldfish container, like one of the big, gallon size ones. Or I've had parents use like empty baby wipes containers, whatever you got. Okay. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be expensive. This is definitely a low budget, low tech, a very good way to work on articulation. And so essentially the way that I would set this up, toddlers love control. If you haven't noticed, if you're new to this, let me tell you, toddlers love to have control. Starting at about maybe 15, 16 months, they want to start to do things on their own, which is great. It's so great. And we definitely don't want to discourage that much. However, toddlers also don't need to have complete free reign over everything. They need to learn that there are social rules to follow, that there is a sequence of events in order to get something that they want. Okay. And I mean, starting at even 16 to 18 months, you can start teaching these things like, oh, you're going to get one picture, put it in. Okay, let's get another one. The first then concept can really be started around this age. Okay. And it may take a while for them to understand it. That's okay. Just be consistent. Don't give up on it the first couple times or the first 10 times. Okay. You may have to teach this concept a lot for them to understand it, but toddlers will, God bless them, they will always try to find a way to get around it. And they will push and push and push on that emotional door that you have, just to see if it's gonna open, just to see if they can get their way. So be the adult, be the parent, be the guardian, and it's your rules. Okay. So as such, the way I would always teach my kiddos that I was working with, I have the pictures. I do. I have the power. I have the pictures. Okay. And what that does, if you do not give them free reign over the pictures, it keeps the pictures fun. It keeps them interesting. It keeps them novel. And they want to do it over and over and over and over again. Okay. This is also a really good activity to work on building attention skills. And so at first, you may only be able to get through 2 or 3 pictures. That's okay. What I always used to do with my kiddos is, okay, let's do one more. Let's do one more and then we can be all done. I do my sign, like, let's do one more and then we can be all done and we can do something else. Because at first, for some kids, their attention span may be 2 minutes. Okay. And that's okay, because we got to start somewhere. So I hold all the pictures. Usually I'm on the floor. Okay. At this point, pretty rarely would I do speech therapy at a table. There were some instances where I would, but that was mostly for my older kiddos. So typically I'm on the floor and I just take out one picture from my lap, for example. Okay, so I stick the pictures in my lap so they really can't see them. They can't get to them. They know they're there, but they can't get to them. Pick one picture. And most of the time starting out, especially if their attention span is super short, I pick the picture. If they do have a good attention span, I may give them a choice between like picnic or pan. I always like to hold the picture up to my mouth. Why, you may ask? Because really their focus is going to be on this, not my face and not my lips. But by holding the picture up to my lips and going pan, pan, that way the focus is on the picture, but it's also on your mouth and how you're making that sound. Okay. They might try to say it. They might not. If this is your first time doing this and you just want to get through it, get through it. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect about this, but we do want to continue to like push the expectation until we can get them at least to say that initial sound, depending on where your kiddo's at. Okay. So after they try to say the sound, or even if they just look at me, if they're kind of shy and they actually make eye contact with me, I'll definitely reward that. Okay. And so then I give them a picture and I tell them to put it in there. And basically you can say, feed the piggy. The piggy's hungry. Yum, yum, yum. Pan, pan, pan. So repetition, repetition, repetition is what's going to win in the end. Okay. They stick it in the mouth, and my years of experience have showed me that this is only fun and it's only beneficial if you make a nummy sound. Okay. So for example, they put the picture in and you go, and I kid you not, sometimes they're a little bit jolted at first because they didn't expect me to do that. But I'm telling you, 9 out of 10 kids will be hooked on this. Okay. They love this game. So I have a whole bunch of different animals, and I have different sound cards to go along with this. Okay. The biggest thing with this is keep it within sight, but out of reach. They do not have free reign to this. Again, going back to free reign. This is not a free reign toy. This is a one-on-one activity with mom or dad, or even older brother, older sister, aunt, uncle, whatever, whoever is working on that sound with the kiddo. They are the ones that are in control. Okay. Which an older sibling would probably love that idea. But these are such great activities. I mean, I have literally used these activities and had to remake them. Probably for my entire career, about 10 or 12 years. Okay. So these are great. The link to the documents, it's on my Google Drive. So I will put that in the description box below. But if you like this, please give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and also check out my Patreon page in order to keep this free information flowing for you guys. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.